The node graph is where you build your networks of nodes, that is to say, the logic or flow of your composites in Nuke. Clicking and dragging with the middle mouse button will pan the node graph. You can zoom in and out using the mouse wheel, or by holding Alt and clicking with the middle mouse button and dragging left and right, which will smoothly zoom. You can also zoom with the plus and minus keys, minus, minus, plus, 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 plus. The F key will frame the currently selected nodes. Nuke uses a node paradigm, where each node is like an operation or an action. For example, to bring media into Nuke, you must use a read node. You can add nodes to the Nuke node graph 4 different ways. The first is the toolbar here to the left. Here's a read node. I'm going to select some media, and we now have media. The second way that you can add nodes to the node graph is by right-clicking and selecting the node you'd like from this context menu, which is essentially a duplicate of everything in the toolbar. The third way you can add nodes to the node graph is by hitting Tab and starting to type the name of the node. Then hit Enter. The fourth way you can add nodes is by using their hotkey. So I'm just going to hit R. That will drop down a new node. In the case of media, you can also drag and drop the media to get it into the node graph. This works for read nodes. Nuke will not do an operation unless there is a node. The data flows out of nodes or through nodes according to these pipes. So, for example, if I wanted to defocus this image of the Golden Gate Bridge, I would have to use a defocus node. So I'm going to hit Tab, type defocus, and then hit Enter. And now I have a defocus node. If I want to view the data, I need to connect it to the viewer. The viewer is also a node in Nuke. So to do that, I need to select what I want to view and hit 1. That will connect the viewer to the node graph. The viewer can have multiple views connected. So for example, if I wanted to view this and this, I could select the thing I want to view and hit 2, and now they're both connected to the viewer. If I hover the mouse pointer over the viewer and hit 1 and 2, it will toggle back and forth between the two views. This is really handy if you want to view something above and below an action that you're doing. So for example, this defocus, I can connect the before to 1, and I can connect the after to 2. I'm clicking this and hitting 2, and now I can toggle back and forth. We'll talk more about the viewer later, but these are the basics of how you use it in the node graph. Let's double click this defocus node to bring up its properties in the properties bin, and I'll just increase the amount of defocus here. If you would like to create a node in line, select the node on top and then add another node. We're going to hit G to drop down a grade node, and it connects right in line. If you'd like to break it off, there's a couple ways you can do it. You can just take the pipe and disconnect it like this and drag the node out. Or you can select the node you would like to break out, hold down Control-Shift-X, and it will disconnect itself from the flow. If you need to manually connect a node, you simply take its pipe and drag it on top of the thing you want to connect it to. The same goes for a pipe like an output pipe. You could take this pipe and connect it here, or take this pipe and connect it here. If a pipe is already connected to another node, you can take the node and drag it right on top of the pipe, and it will connect itself in. I'm left-click dragging to lasso all these nodes, and then clicking one of the nodes to move them all together. If you'd like to create a node that branches off of another node rather than connecting in line, you do that by holding down Shift as you create the node. So I'm going to create another grade node. I'll select this node, and I'm holding down Shift and hitting the hotkey for grade, which is G. G. The grade node forks off rather than connecting in line. To delete a node, you select it and hit the delete key. So let's delete this grade node. I'm lassoing it with the left click, drag, and I'm hitting the delete key. Delete. Compositing two images requires a merge node, which has two inputs. To connect a node that has two inputs, you first select the foreground image, which is the A input. So if we're going to do a merge over, we want to do A over B. So we select A first, then B, which is the background, and I'm going to hit the hotkey for merge, which is M. It drops down a merge node. A over B. That's it for the basics of the node graph. We've seen how to connect nodes, manipulate nodes, and connect nodes that have multiple inputs. In the next section, we're going to cover in a lot more detail the transform node, the grade node, and some of the basic nodes that you'll use every day in compositing images.